Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. On a beautiful fall morning. Isn't the sky gorgeous today? All right, I'm Sarah Benson. This is Doug. That's Doug. We're going to start you off with a couple of songs. Invite you to stand if you'd like, and you could clap and dance and look at each other and stuff. Here we go. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Ooh. Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love.
From every
Walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love.
We come together.
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 In the
Name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Oh, we're doing another song. I'm so excited, I forgot. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Oh, 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 oh. Wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Oh, 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 oh. Wonderful Spirit. Pour your love in me. Pour your love into my heart. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me. Pour so much love into my heart. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wonderful Spirit, oh, sing your joy in me. Sing your joy into my heart. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wonderful Spirit, oh, sing your joy in me. So much joy into my heart. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me. Shine the light into my heart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wonderful Spirit, oh, shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Whoa.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Wonderful Spirit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wonderful Spirit.
Good morning. My name is Tina Bailey. I'm a practitioner here. And I just wish you could all see these wonderful smiles and how much you enjoyed that song. Didn't it feel good in your heart? So we welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. Does that sound like us? So we welcome anyone who's visiting for the first time. Please help yourself to a packet of information. There's a gift certificate in there for the bookstore. And if you would be so inclined, we'd appreciate if you'd fill out the front of it with your email address so we can put you on our newsletter. We want you to read the newsletter, especially this is the season where a lot of stuff starts happening, because we are the place of what's happening now. Oh, look at Edie. And we welcome everyone who is watching online this morning. We really appreciate you. Mary Lynn Brown, who is our wonderful musician for a number of years, has moved, and this is the last Sunday to sign the card that we're sending to her. And if you want to put any gift cards into it, she would just be absolutely blown away to send those messages of love from here. And I know many of you already know, but these Care Bears are in the seats. So it's a unity project. We want you to give them a lot of love and pass them along so everybody can send their love along with these Care Bears. Can't be too much love in the world, I think. In November, I was delighted to read that since the focus is abundance, Judy Hunt is going to be leading a class on spiritual economics based on Eric Butterworth's book. It's fabulous. I love his other book called Celebrate Yourself. He's a unity author, and you'll learn a lot. Judy's a great teacher. And if you are signed up, her directive to you is to read the intro to the book and the first chapter before the first class this Thursday. So how many are signed up? Hey, perfect. Jane Himes has been taking care of the garden for years, but will no longer be able to do it, our garden out front. She's willing to train a new garden aficionado for help on watering and caring for it to keep it going over the winter, and then especially to see it flourishing and blossoming and spreading out in the summer. So this is a place you can bring your creativity and your love of plants, and we would love it if you would step up and do it. So you just call the front office and tell them, hey, sign me up, I'm ready. I'm a flower person. And we need someone who can provide sacred service by collecting the tablecloths each Sunday. And if they need to be laundered, to do so and bring them back for the following week. Please let Reverend Bonnie, if you are able and willing and would love to do this. And coats are still being collected here. As you know, we collect coats every winter and hand them out to the people who need them. We've already delivered one batch, and now we have an empty barrel again, so bring in barrel. The barrel's full right now, but we will. It will, okay. Well, don't let that keep you from bringing them in. We'll find room for them. Sweaters, jackets, blankets, whatever will help people keep warm. And November 16th is our art, baked goods, and crafts sale. Let Deb know what you are contributing, or sign up in the social hall. And here's a note. You need to remember for your calendar, our potluck is moved to the last Sunday in November. That's the date that we have a special service with Brian Kurtz, and he has a workshop that afternoon, and it will also be our Thanksgiving potluck. So rest up the day before, and we hope to see you here that day. And December 8th is a special day for the center. It's when we're going to celebrate our anniversary, as well as have the potluck, and a holiday card signing event. We have 100 cards that we're going to be signing and sending out to the rest homes, the long-term care facilities, and people who can use some of our energy going out into the community. And as you know, as a center, we believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment. We know it works. We know it's powerful. And the 4 New Thought communities in Las Cruces meet weekly and pray on the prayer requests that are submitted by all 4 centers. It's kept in confidence. So we encourage you, if you have something going on in your life that you just want a little more support on, fill out a prayer request card and put it in the collection plate or in the brown God can on the back table. And they're kept in confidence. And we will pray on them on Tuesday afternoons. There's also a button on the website where you can enter your prayer requests. So we know the power of prayer, we know it works, and we love to pray, so we encourage you to do that. And if there's something going on in your life this morning that you really want a 3-minute treatment on, look for either me or Bob for a 3-minute miracle. We would love to pray with you. And of course, we love to get the gratitude cards when you see demonstrations in your life as a result of prayer. We love to see the gratitude because gratitude is important. And now it is time for our song, silence, and prayer.
I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself.
In this room of this loving energy, it is easy to feel our connection with one another. It is easy to know that we come together in a spirit of love and of knowingness that we are divinely guided, guarded, and protected in all that we do. Each one of us is one with the other. It's a wonderful place to be. It is wonderful to come and share love and joy and see goodness all around us. Giving a smile could set the tone for someone's week. So I invite you to do that, to get a hug and a smile and give a smile, knowing that all is well. It really is. And the reading for today is from Ernest Holmes' The Science of Mind, from the chapter on physical perfection. God is spirit. Spirit is substance, and substance is supply. This is the keynote to a realization of the more abundant life. To the demonstrations of success in financial matters. And it is right that we should be successful, for otherwise the spirit is not expressed. The divine cannot lack for anything, and we should not lack for anything that makes life worthwhile here on earth. Everything that we do should be a success, and we should be led to do these things, which are constructive and worthwhile. To bring a realization of the presence of the Spirit into all of our acts is to prove that God is all, even in the slightest things which we undertake. Nothing is great and nothing is small to the divine. So we should never wonder if what we are going to do will be hard or easy. God knows no hard and no easy. A treatment after the manner should prove the law of abundance in the life of those who use such statements and believe in them. I am surrounded by pure spirit, by God, the living spirit. My thought is God thought, and it is the law unto that thing whereunto it is spoken. Everything that I do shall be a success. I am led, guided, and inspired by the living spirit of love and of right action. I am compelled to move in the right direction and to always know what to do, where, and how to do it. I am surrounded by right action. I am filled with the consciousness of right action. Right action is success in all that I undertake to do. I am successful in all my undertakings, and I am compensated for all of my efforts. I am surrounded by substance, which is always taken the form of supply and always manifesting itself to me in the form of whatever my need may be at the time. I always have an abundance of money and an abundance of whatever it takes to make life happy and opulent. There is a continuous movement toward me of supply, of money, of all that I need to express the fullest life, happiness, and action. I have an inner understanding of my place in the universe. I know that it is unique. The divine has not incarnated in anyone else in just the same individual way that it has in me. I am unique and forever individualized. Therefore, I do not need to imitate anyone or to long for the good that belongs to another. All good is now mine and is now manifest in my experience. I do not compete with anyone, for I am and remain forever myself. I do not compete with anyone, for I am and remain forever myself. The self is united with all selves, but is always an individual and a unique self. There is that in me which all people recognize as worthwhile and desirable, and everyone whom I meet loves this self of mine and recognizes its worth. I draw all toward me, and those whom I can benefit, and those who can benefit me are irresistibly drawn toward me. I do not strain, will, or coerce. I know. The truth makes me free from the fear of poverty or bondage and emancipates me from the thought of limitation. I see that money, like everything else that is desirable, must be a spiritual idea. And I know that I have this idea right in my mind at this moment. I shall always have the idea of abundance. It is mine, and I take it. The opportunity for self-expression and compensation is always open to me, and I am at all times compelled to know, accept, and operate upon the opportunity. I have abundance because I am abundance. All that the Father hath is mine, and so it is.
Doug Adams is here to do the special music, so give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. Since I've been playing at the New Thought Centers, I've learned a lot about and realized a lot about affirmations and the power of affirmations. So I wrote this song, which is itself an apparition. It's that time of year for apparitions. No, this is an affirmation. It's an affirmation, and it's called Feeling Fine. The full title is Feeling Fine, parenthetically, a hillbilly affirmation. Oh, I am feeling fine. I am content. All the clank and the angst of a life of strife, I don't know where it went, 'cause I was a participant. I was way in it. Did I tell you that I'm glad to get a break from it, even for a minute? I was a little overbearing, maybe just a little rude and all. And nothing much really ever changed, you could call it attitude and all. Just another runner in the human race, like a billion other two-legged inhabitants clinging to the speck of dust floating through space. Oh, I am feeling fine. You could call me cool, even though to the casual observer I might seem to be nothing but a stump-sitting fool. Oh, I am feeling fine. You could call me chill. Hey, chill. If you're looking for somebody to be happy in this world, I will stand up and declare I will. I'm not turning cartwheels. I describe myself as stoic, squinting off at the horizon with an attitude that I'm surmising might be understood as heroic. I'm looking at the simple things, shouldn't come as any shock. I'm digging on the shape of the clouds as they race, and I'm looking at a bug on a rock. Well, I am satisfied. I am content. All the clank and the angst of a life of strife, I don't know where it went. Oh, I'm feeling fine. You could say I'm cool. Did I tell you that I'm glad to get a break from it? My heart and mind began to get an ache from it. I never realized what I could take from it, even for a minute. Thank you.
As usual, perfect. Thank you very much. I think that Sarah should say this is Sarah and Doug squared, but we're grateful to have Doug here anytime that you come and give us your new creations, and you're right on it today, as you will see. So good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know, good morning online. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center. And this month, you've probably already figured out as we move into November, we are focusing on abundance. And I think the reason why we focus on abundance often in the month of November is because this is traditionally the month when the harvest comes in, when we see the abundance of all that has grown and that we are collecting and putting in the storehouse to get us through the winter. And so at the end of the month, we have Thanksgiving, and we are giving thanks for this great abundance that we've experienced and that we've stored away in the storehouse. So I think of abundance and Thanksgiving as coming together in this month of November. So as I was pondering prior to putting this talk together, I was thinking, well, why do we want abundance in our lives? What is it that we want from abundance? Now, and I do want to say, for me, I often say abundance of all good, because abundance just means a lot of things. It could be a lot of rain, which we've seen. We want some rain here, but it can be overly abundant in some parts of the world. And we don't want that kind of abundance. So abundance of all good, we usually think of as abundance of supply or money or the things that what? Why do we want this stuff? Why do we want abundance? Comfort. What else? It makes life easier, right? If we want money for a car, it's because we want to have an easier way of getting around. If we want money for our bills, it's because the bills are for gas and electric and a house that makes it more comfortable and more easy for us to live. So as I was thinking about why we want abundance in our life, abundance of all good, of supply, I thought about all of the inventions that were made that came about to make life easier. And then, of course, we need the supply to buy the inventions to make our lives easier. And so I thought, well, is our goal in life to have an easy life? Is that the goal? And have we arrived? Many of us have already bought the inventions or have the things. Does our life feel easy? Do we ever reach a place of it being completely easy? It reminded me of one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. So when I was a kid, I lived not too far from Disneyland, and we would go occasionally. I would dance there sometimes and get to run around for free, which was fun. And my favorite ride was in Tomorrowland, and it was a carousel by GE that showed all of the inventions throughout the years, the last century, I think, that was supposed to make life easier. And our seats would move, which was totally cool. And you'd go to a new scene and a new scene, and each time you would see the evolution of these inventions that were to make life easy, like from a broom to a vacuum cleaner, and scrubbing our laundry through the wringer washer to the washing machine. And I looked at that, and for me as a kid, I loved that ride because I loved looking at all the different things and how they had evolved. And then someone pointed out to me that as things evolved, as we invented these new things to make life easier, the level of our expectations also went up. So a dirt floor that we swept then became like a carpet or linoleum, and it had to be spotless with no dirt. So our clothes, how they looked, washing them on the washboard and hanging them out to dry, now they had to be pressed and white, and all of the ways that we expected things to be shifted as well. So with easier also came new expectations. And those continued to rise along with these inventions. So I asked myself again, as I was thinking about abundance and why we want abundance in our life, is easy really the goal? Is making our life easier really what it's all about? Or have I been fooling myself? Is there really another reason why we are here on this earth? We have a saying that I'm sure you've already heard in these buildings and around. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, wow, yeah, that's really profound. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Is the human experience easy? So is the point of being here to have it easy? Well, it just dawned on me as I was thinking about this, that if we're here to have a human experience, if that's what Spirit is doing in and through us, then maybe the goal isn't easy. Maybe instead the goal is experience, human experience. And I pictured sort of a target with the word easy in the middle. And then I pictured another target with human experience in the middle. And as I shifted the focus from the goal being easy to human experience, I thought about, as we've said before, I think in here several times, in the Christian scriptures, the word sin, if you go back to the Aramaic, really meant an archery term to miss the mark. And so I was picturing focusing on easy and then focusing on the target of a human experience. And I realized that if I was focused on just making my life easy, I had missed the mark. That the purpose here was to have that human experience, the full picture of a human experience. Can you feel the difference when you shift the focus, when I just talk about easy to experience? For some reason, my Bible background kept coming up as I was putting this talk together. So I hope that you all can go with me on this. But Matthew 6:33 popped into my mind. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. And I thought about, what is the kingdom of God? When I picture a kingdom of God, I picture the experience of living in a kingdom of love, because I see God as love. And I picture what that might be like to have that experience on earth. So I know that Tina gave you a long reading today. That's my fault. She said, is it really going to be this long? Yes. She did a fabulous job. I knew she could keep your interest the way she reads. So part of the things that it said in there is to bring a realization of the presence of the Spirit into all of our acts and to provide or to prove that God is in all, even in the slightest things which we undertake. Another place it said, I am led, guided, and inspired by the living Spirit of love and of right action. I am compelled to move in the right direction. I am surrounded by right action. I am filled with the consciousness of right action. And then he says, I am compensated for all my efforts. I always have an abundance of money and abundance of whatever it takes to make life happy and opulent. I wanted to make sure I understood opulent, and it means rich and luxurious. And then as he goes through that treatment, I didn't know if you noticed it was a treatment that he had written there. I draw all toward me and those whom I can benefit and those who can benefit me. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but what I noticed as he took us through that treatment and that teaching in that part of the Science of Mind text, there was an order to things. And that order was right action, an undertaking, love, benefiting the other, and then the benefits to us, and abundance, and all good, and that opulent life followed. So what I see from what he was saying there, because he didn't say in the treatment, well, make life easy for me and just plop a bunch of money down in my lap. I want to get rich quick. Let's, make this happen. That's not what he put in the treatment. He put in there that I'm guided to right action. I'm guided to an undertaking of some sort.
And then I'm compensated and all good flows my way. So what came to me as I was reading through these different places that he talks about abundance is that we have activity first, and activity requires an experience of some sort. We have that activity first, and then abundance follows. We give through that activity. We give love. We give how we can benefit others. And then that abundance and that flow and the benefit to us follows that. And so another piece of this teaching and the way that I have interpreted science of mind, and part of what I love about it, is when he says this: do I look at myself from a standpoint of restriction? Do I see life limited to the eternal round of getting up in the morning, eating, going to work, coming home, going to bed, sleeping, getting up again, and so on? Break the bonds of apparent necessity and see life as one continuous expression of the infinite self. And as this conception gradually dawns upon the inner thought, something will happen to our outer conditions to relieve the greater demands of necessity. Free yourself forever from the thought that God may be pleased by a life of sacrifice. That's why I like your song. It was perfect. Releasing that. Free yourself from the thought that God is pleased by a life of sacrifice, that the world is any better because of your misery, or that righteousness is more perfectly expressed through poverty than abundance. Know that the greater abundance of every good thing which you bring out in your life, the more perfectly you are satisfying the divine urge within you. Anything you can dream of is not too great for you to undertake if it hurts no one and brings happiness and good into your life. If one were doing the work he should be doing, he would never become tired, because the energy which holds the universe in place is tireless. And so I thought about it, and again, I wanted to be sure, because some of the old teaching that I come out of is, well, if you work really hard here and you sacrifice here, you get your reward in heaven. And that's not what I'm talking about up here. And that's not what Ernest Holmes was talking about. He was talking about divine action, right action through us, and receiving our good in this experience of a human experience on earth, with the goal being the experience and letting life express in and through us. We choose our focus. Are we here to experience life? Are we here to let God express life through us? Back in when I took the initial foundations class, when I figured out that God wanted to experience life through me, that's why I was created, I came up with this phrase for myself, that I'm here to give God a good time. And I know other people have said that also. And what I mean by a good time is not necessarily an easy time, but a good experience of life through me, that I open as much as I can to letting God express through me, and then that becomes a good experience. It reminded me of back when my first real job outside of college. I was an activity director in a nursing home. And people would say to me, family would come in and visit their family members, and they say, oh, isn't it depressing working in here? And I was like, no, I loved that job. And I've often thought I can always go do that again, because I loved that job. It was far from depressing. I was invigorated, and I left there energized every time I went to work. I loved going to work. I got to play with people. I got to listen to their stories, and I loved seeing them come to life. And one of my beliefs that I took into that job was we continue to learn till the day we die. So I would bring things in that they could learn and learn more and talk about and do together. And so when he said, if one is doing the work he or she should, you would never become tired, because the energy which holds the universe in place is tireless. It reminded me of that, how coming to a job that we love energizes us. We don't become tired. So on a slightly different note, last week I attended a meeting of interfaith leaders. It included ministers from around town, the rabbi, a Zen priest, and other spiritual leaders. And this meeting was called together by a group out of El Paso that is an interfaith leaders group in El Paso. And apparently some people from here were going down to meet with them. They've been meeting and actually incorporated as a nonprofit for the last 12 years. And so they were bringing us the opportunity to do a similar thing up here in Las Cruces. And we all put on sticky notes the reasons why we wanted to come to that meeting. And we're pretty well in alignment around the idea that we wanted to learn from each other's faith traditions. And we wanted to create an awareness and a connection to strengthen our communities so that we could come together and bring that love together. One of the men who's been going down to El Paso is from the Mormon community here in town, where their faith leaders are lay leaders. And so that's why we don't say rabbis and priests and ministers only, but to the leaders of these spiritual communities. And he said part of why he was going down there and why he was one of the people to ask them to come up here is because he believes that the teaching of Jesus, the most important one, is to love the Lord your God with all your heart and then to love your neighbor as yourself. And so to him, getting to know our neighbor in terms of those that believe differently, go to different places of worship, is a way for him to learn how to love his neighbor. And they made it specific, a goal and a premise, I guess, for this group, that we come together to learn from each other, to learn to love each other, but not to try and change each other. That we might become changed by what we learn, but we are not there with the purpose of proselytizing or changing the other. So a part of what they've been doing in El Paso is creating situations where people could come together, experience food and music and rituals from each other's traditions, and they've grown together and learned a lot over these last 12 years. They did share, was this easy? No. But it was an amazing experiential opportunity, and they were offering that to us here in Las Cruces, because sometimes they open the tables to the community, so the community can also learn about these different faith traditions. And so what came to me is that since in my mind God is love, we come together with the intention of experiencing loving and experiencing love, that we are then allowing God its greatest expression and experience through us when we do that. I notice how when I love someone, I want them to be happy. I want to give to them. And then when I give to them, it's so fun to see them be happy, and then they tend to give back to me, and that's how this flow gets going. So love, opening to love, giving, receiving, gratitude, and the abundance just flows. Now I know that's simplified, but as we've often said here, it's simple but not easy. So this interfaith group in El Paso, after meeting for 12 years and learning from each other and growing together, realized something about their group. Now, this is all the different people that have come together from these different faiths. They realized that underneath their different faiths, they all had a similar desire for social justice, world peace, reduction of hunger and homelessness, and they all were willing to come together to learn from each other and not proselytize or try and change the other. And they also realized that they had had some people who had come to their tables who found that uncomfortable, who didn't feel that they could fit in under those premises. They had other ideas, other goals. They felt the need to change someone to their belief. And so they would leave the table. Part of what they have in their written out portion says you can leave the table at any time if you're uncomfortable. But what they realized is that there are faith leaders then that are not at the table. And they want to broaden that experience. They want to figure out how they, in this core group, can open and make more room for that discomfort of people coming together who might not have that bottom line idea of what they want or goal. They want to expand their listening and learning capacity. They want to bring more people to the table. They want to reach out and dialogue with people about their differences and be open to hearing about that and sharing. They want to have a different experience. They want their experience to expand. And I was thinking about the fact that we're moving into the holidays and we're moving into a time when we usually bring family members together. We are not always all on the same page. And how within families, relationships, between cultures and communities, the easy thing to do when it gets uncomfortable is leave the table. To disengage, to separate, to avoid the conflict, maybe not even go to the table to begin with. So how do we shift our goal from easy to an experience? The experience of staying at the table, the experience of having the hard conversations, of opening ourselves to what might be a challenging or even difficult experience. And what I realized made it easier for me was when I thought about the goal not being easy, but rather thinking of it as an experience. And if I can bring myself to the table for an experience, I find I can stay more open, even if it's not easy. So what does all this have to do with abundance and the abundance of all good, since that's our topic this month? I'm going to share more with Ernest Holmes, from Ernest Holmes with you. I think that part of what causes us to leave the table or not even want to go to it is fear. We're often afraid of conflict, difference, what might be said, what might happen. And this is what Ernest Holmes has to say about fear. And the first sentence here is from Luke 12:32. He's quoting, "Fear not, little flock, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." And then Ernest Holmes continues, "Fear is the great enemy of humankind. But fear is a mental attitude, and it can be converted into something else. Fear is the reverse mental attitude to faith, and as a result of the lack of faith, fear brings limitation and lack in its wake and destroys the happiness and possibility of a greater degree of livingness to those who suffer from it. Fear blocks the more complete givingness of the Spirit to its highest form of manifestation on this planet, which is humankind. Fear arises from the mental attitude which limits the possibility and the willingness of Spirit to give us the good we greatly desire. There is nothing wrong in the desire for self-expression. God is more completely expressed through those whose lives who live largely rather than through those who live meagerly. Fear is a belief in limitation, a denial that the divine is the center and the source of all good. We must do all in our power to overcome it. Perfect love casts out fear. That is, confidence overcomes the depression of doubt. Mental depression can produce physical and financial depression. The psychology of economic cycles proves this. In the midst of plenty, humanity lives in want because of fear. To overcome fear is the greatest adventure of our minds. I know I'm reading you a lot of Holmes, but as I told Tina, who says it better but him? So when I looked at that, again, another one of his passages that talks about abundance, he's talking about if we have fear, lack follows. Limitation, the belief in limitation is part of fear. Whether it's fear that there might be anger or discomfort, or it won't work, or it's not going to be easy. Again, I think when we focus and shift that focus to love and to having that experience, we can release the fear and open ourselves to a greater exchange, a greater experience, which then opens us to abundance. So at this point, as I was putting this together, you all probably know by now that my mind does some interesting things when I do this. I had an interesting thought pop into my head, and it was the Lord's Prayer. And I know the Lord's Prayer has been interpreted in a lot of different ways, but what came to me was the traditional King James version that I have memorized in my brain. But from my Christian Science background, we start with Our Father, Mother God, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. Now, I also learned it, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Well, this started running through my head, and I thought, trespass, I wonder what that means. So I looked up what it means to trespass against us. And it said to be sinned against or harmed by another. It can also mean to do something that offends or hurts someone. And so I thought about this prayer, and there are a couple points that I had sort of jump out at me. The first one is kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. That idea of as above, so below. And again, that idea of the kingdom, what is that? That's an experience of God or love on earth as we would expect it to be in heaven. So that was my first thought as I thought through this prayer. And then where it says, forgive our debts or our trespasses as we forgive those who are in debt to us or who have trespassed against us. And I noted that it doesn't say, make life easy so no one is indebted to me and I'm indebted to no one and no one trespasses against me and I don't make any mistakes and trespass against others. That's not the prayer. And I thought, wow, okay. So in the wisdom of the person who gave us this prayer, it's recognized that our human experience can involve mistakes, can involve missing the mark, can involve hurting others, becoming indebted, or others becoming indebted to us. It can involve missing the mark. And the prayer is how to move beyond that, how to forgive. And so one of the things that I think I've shared in the past that I've come to realize is, I always wanted the how-to. How do you forgive? How do you forgive? What I've realized is that when we shift our focus to love, to loving and expressing love and experiencing love, forgiveness happens in its wake. And as I was putting this together, I realized that abundance isn't the goal in the sense that we want to make life easy, but abundance is what happens when we shift our focus onto having an experience, on loving, on being a presence of love for other people. Forgiveness happens as a byproduct of choosing love, and abundance of our good is a byproduct of choosing to experience life and experiencing love. And then what's really ironic is once we do that, life gets easier. And so it is. So one of the things that I want to share with all of you, because we're moving into Tuesday, you all know that that's the day of the election, and many of us have already voted. But part of what we're feeling is the energy of some people being really nervous on either side as to what direction we're going. And Ernest Holmes was a firm believer that this country, because it's a democracy, is a place where everyone has the opportunity to have abundance and security. And so he wrote a prayer for our country. And so I want to read that for us today as we move from this then into our own prayer. So practitioners and anyone else who wants to join in the energy of this can make a circle around the room. And I'm sharing this largely because of Tuesday, but it also fits in really well with this topic today. Ernest Holmes starts out by saying, believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression, I offer this, my prayer for my country. And I just want to remind people that when we do a treatment, we have it in the present tense, and we speak it as if it is already so. He says, I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone in this country. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people in this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind of God contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed to this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem, and each is compelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. That's the end of Ernest Holmes' words, so let's just take those words in. Take a nice deep breath and just release, knowing that as we focus on having that experience of love and life and allowing Spirit to move in and through us fully, we can just release and allow all to unfold, trusting it is in divine order, trusting the divine is present at all things and in all places, and that the highest and best for each one of us and our country is unfolding as we speak. And so it is.
This is a world premiere. I've never played this song for anybody, not even Nancy has heard it yet. I tried to come up with something for abundance. I meditated on it, I prayed on it, I thought on it, I took notes, and that didn't come in, but this came in. Autumn is here, and I'm trimming trees, branches that once were heavy with leaves. Now some are gray and dry and brittle, just dead weight on my desert willow. Be careful when trimming the limbs that are green, the ones that will grow with the stirring of spring. I know that I'm going to leave some scars if the cut is clean. It'll heal with time. Don't sit on a branch when you saw it. Don't stand underneath when it falls. If the blade is sharp and you cut on the mark, this tree is going to be so beautiful and tall. It's autumn and I'm trimming trees. Branches once heavy with leaves, now some are dry and gray and brittle, just dead weight on my desert willow. When you're finished, measure and chop them and stash them where they'll get even drier on the coldest night of the winter. By God, they'll make a nice fire. comes a time for pruning and trimming and cutting what no longer serves. You got to wring out the old before you ring in the new, and follow that new road wherever it swerves. It's autumn and I'm trimming trees. The branches once heavy with leaves, now some are old and dry and brittle, just dead weight on my desert willow.
That's how you take a human experience and get the spiritual message. Thank you so much. Perfect. Well, now is that time when we consider the giving back to this center. And so, Bill, are you there? You want to, whoever will help him to pass the plate. This is the time when we think about that flow and how it works. And we're moving into a new month, so we are tithing to a new place. And this month, it is going to be Las Esperanzas Incorporated. It's an educational, social, and charitable organization established to advocate for the renaissance of the Mesquite Historic District, which is right around in here. And actually, the part that we're contributing to is they get coats and shoes for the children. And so that is part of what we are tithing to this month. And so let's say our blessing together. He said, hold on. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And so we'll sing our song.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
Thank you all, and thank you for blessing it and just passing along. Like we love up the bears, we just put the blessings into the plate. And we know that whether they show up as material or as spiritual, it's all part of the one. And we're grateful for all that flows in and through this center, the experiences that we have here, the love that is shared here, and the abundance that flows to support this place. We are blessed, and so it is. Thank you. What are we closing out with today?
This little light of mine.
This little light of mine. Yay.
Yeah, you're invited to stand if you'd like.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, God gives us the gift of love. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, God gives gonna let it shine. God gives me the gift of love. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. My gratitude for this new day, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, my gratitude for this new day, I'm gonna let it shine. My gratitude for this new day, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Remember, nothing can stop your light from shining, no matter who wins on Tuesday, okay? Go out and shine. Love you all.
Is something happening? Is there?